Welcome to Stellar Guy. Today, we're going through an unforgettable Reba episode, He's Having a Baby. In this episode, the family faces unique challenges as Van and Cheyenne prepare for the arrival of their baby through birthing classes. Meanwhile, Reba and Brock confront unresolved issues, and even Barbara Jean gets drawn into the mix, leading to a roller coaster of laughter and emotions. Let's dive right in. As the episode begins, Reba is rushing Van and Cheyenne out the door. They're supposed to be at their birthing class in 15 minutes, but Van, nervous about the whole ordeal, drags his feet. He tries to weasel his way out of going, claiming that he's already overwhelmed by basic math and weightlifting. Cheyenne isn't having it. She insists that they need the class for their upcoming delivery, emphasizing how much she'll be counting on Van in the delivery room. With his usual humor, Van tries one last excuse, mumbling about the possibility of fainting or, worse, throwing up. Reba steps in with a smirk, encouraging him to go anyway. She points out that birthing classes are right up Van's alley. There's free food and educational visuals featuring naked women. The tease finally convinces Van to go, and off they go to the class. In the class, Van and Cheyenne watch an educational video. As the scene cuts to them viewing footage of an actual birth, Van's face lights up in awe, while Cheyenne looks horrified, muttering an "ew" in response. It's clear that the birth process has a different impact on each of them. Back at home, Reba shares a cute family moment with her kids as she digs out some old baby photos. She shows Kyra a photo from the day she was born, making a playful comment about her cone head, which she teasingly blames on Brock's side of the family. But before long, Brock arrives at the house with Barbara Jean's latest request. He's there to pick up the old crib from the garage for his new child's nursery. Reba is immediately defensive, expressing her disappointment since she was saving the crib for their grandchild. It's not just a piece of furniture to her, it's a symbol of her children's infancy, a memory of all three of them sleeping in the same crib. Despite her initial hesitation, Cheyenne tells Reba that she's okay with giving up the crib, not seeing it as a big deal. With mixed feelings, Reba eventually relents and lets Brock take the crib, but not without a bit of tension simmering beneath the surface. Van, returning home, is animatedly sharing his excitement with Reba. His energy bubbles over as he explains to Reba and the family all about the female anatomy that he learned about in class. His enthusiasm and fascination with terms like cervix and placenta are both hilarious and endearing. Cheyenne, however, is less enthusiastic. She finds herself growing increasingly uncomfortable with Van's excitement, especially his insistence on role-playing childbirth positions. Van's attempts to coach her, even in everyday situations, make Cheyenne wonder if they're taking these classes a bit too seriously. Then comes a hilarious twist. Cheyenne finds an excuse not to attend their next class, saying she has a paper due. Van, eager to continue his learning, doesn't want to miss the class and finds himself pleading with Reba. "Will you be my mommy?" he asks, his eyes wide with earnestness. With a little hesitation, Reba agrees and goes with him to class, now stepping into the role of mommy for the evening. When Reba and Van arrive at the class, they're in for a surprise. Brock and Barbara Jean are also attending. It's an awkward and slightly tense moment, especially when Brock tries to assert his newfound dedication to fatherhood, vowing that he won't miss a single second of the upcoming birth. Reba, of course, is a bit irked, silently wondering why Brock hadn't shown this level of dedication during her own labors. The session goes on with the class practicing various breathing techniques, deepening Reba's frustration with Brock's grandstanding in front of everyone. Brock's insensitivity reaches a peak when he gives an emotional speech to the class about how this time he'll be fully present for the birth, a comment that rubs salt in the wounds from their past. Unable to stay quiet, Reba finally reaches her breaking point. Her frustration boils over, and in a moment of anger, she impulsively whacks Brock with a plastic baby doll. The class watches in stunned silence as Reba tries to play off her outburst, but it's clear that Brock's words have hit a sore spot. Meanwhile, Cheyenne tries to make progress on her so-called paper, but her heart isn't in it. She's distracted by the thought of missing class with Van, and when he returns home, she listens to his tales of the evening's activities with a guilty heart. But Cheyenne isn't the only one affected by Reba's outburst. Jake overhears Reba bragging to her friend about the punch she threw at Brock. When he asks Reba if she really hit his father, Reba is taken aback, realizing the unintended lesson she might be teaching her son. She quickly tells Jake that hitting is wrong, adding that they never hit in their family, though she secretly enjoyed the satisfaction of the moment. But the situation escalates when Barbara Jean calls to inform Reba that Brock has been admitted to the hospital. Reba feels a pang of guilt and immediately heads over, dreading the consequences of her actions. She expects the worst, imagining that her impulsive hit may have caused serious harm. At the hospital, Reba finds Brock in a room with another patient, who chuckles as Brock explains the grueling experience of childbirth in class. Reba's guilt quickly evaporates when she discovers that Brock isn't in the hospital because of her hit. Instead, Barbara Jean had accidentally dropped the crib on his toe while setting up the nursery. Reba and Brock share an unexpectedly tender moment in the hospital. Brock admits that he's determined to be a better father this time around, but he also acknowledges that his focus on improving with Barbara Jean is hard for Reba. He's doing everything for his new baby that he didn't do for his older kids, and it's understandably painful for Reba to watch. She confesses to Brock that it's not just the crib. It's about feeling like her family was his practice run. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Brock apologizes, acknowledging the mistakes he made in the past and expressing his regrets. It's a moment of quiet understanding between the exes, a sign that, while they may never undo the past, they're both doing their best to navigate the complicated relationship they now share. The encounter leaves both of them with a newfound understanding of each other's pain, and they part on a surprisingly positive note, if not without some lingering tension. Later that evening, Cheyenne and Van share a quiet conversation at home. Van, inspired by all that he's learned, tells Cheyenne that watching their child's birth will be the greatest moment of his life, and he promises to be there every step of the way, helping her through it all. Cheyenne, moved by his earnestness, realizes that despite her earlier doubts, she's not alone in this journey. Van is committed and will do everything he can to support her through the experience. As the episode closes, Reba reflects on the day's events and realizes that her family may be far from perfect, but they're hers. They may bicker, fight, and even throw the occasional punch, but at the end of the day, they're in this together. The birth of a child is a momentous occasion that doesn't just change the parents, it affects everyone involved. And that's the story of Reba's episode, He's Having a Baby. The family's journey through birthing classes and Reba and Brock's unresolved issues makes for a comedic yet heartfelt episode that reminds us of the bonds that hold a family together. No matter the ups and downs, they'll always have each other's backs, or toes in Brock's case. Thanks for tuning in to Stellar Guy. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more fun recaps.